Hey guys, we got the delivery numbers for most of the Chinese EVs so far, not for Tesla of course, but we can now start comparing it to the numbers that I have kind of leaked yesterday and see how it's going, and then also interpret more about the NIO numbers. First of all, the reaction to the NIO numbers seems to be, well, rather on the bullish side, so up 7% while I am recording this, and this in a very difficult market. So crypto is down, the 10-year is spiking, oil is up, volatility is up quite a bit. We've got some Fed speeches coming later today, so we'll see how this will pan out. But anyways, you can see that Xpeng is not reacting as positively. Li Auto having a good time here as well, because they have delivered, I think, around 11,000 cars, right? So that's actually quite bullish as well. But for Xpeng, it seems like the 10K are not really on the surprising bullish side here. So, well, we know the drill. It's always about, well, yes, Xpeng is delivering more cars because, of course, they have to. They are in this lower budget customer segment, and therefore they should actually deliver the double of the numbers than NIO is usually doing. I'm kind of getting tired of explaining this and talking about it. I think in the future I shouldn't keep on comparing Xpeng and NIO, because they're, you don't compare BMW and Volkswagen either, right? And then Li Auto, I can just stress the fact that this is not a full EV car. So although they have a really smart car on the road and an incredible product, but to compare this with NIO is kind of, nonsense in a way. But back to the numbers that I've leaked yesterday. Well, they are off a little bit because they came in higher, but that was kind of to be expected because those numbers only included the 2nd of May till 29th. So given if you look also at the numbers delivered by NIO in terms of which model that they're delivered, these numbers are quite accurate actually. So I may stick to the source in as an orientation, at least, to where the future numbers are coming to, because you can actually see also this dip in the ES8 deliveries and also quite an increase in the ET7 numbers. And so if you look into this delivery update, this is exactly what we got. So here the ES8 came in at 746 cars, which is significantly lower than usually, right? And also the ET7, I think, was really surprising on the high side here with 1,700 cars more or less. And in total, the 7,000 cars have been, I would say, a nice surprise. I said yesterday I would expect the range between 5,000 and 6,000 cars, so the 7,000 is quite good here. And in case that these numbers that have been leaked here, which are registration numbers, if they have been accurate for this time period, then this means that NIO really delivered like 500 cars additionally per day in these additional 3 days that are not covered in this leak. And so you could argue, going forward, do we see maybe 15K in June? We'll see. I mean, like, maybe we hear something, of course, in the earnings call coming up in June 9th about the guidance. So hopefully at least 25K for the whole quarter. That would be okay, because that would be more or less than the quarter before, in a quarter where they have been significantly impacted by the closure of the factory as well as the lockdowns. So expect a couple of thousand undelivered cars only in Shanghai, and then possibly also Beijing additionally, and maybe some other parts in China that also been impacted. So there should be some pent-up demand, and we're getting a couple of hints here in this release note, which I found interesting. So that's quite unusual for NIO, that they are actually talking about orders, right? They say here they have a strong order inflow, and usually NIO is not the kind of company that's going out there and kind of pumping their book and saying like, we have extraordinary demand and everything's running great, and here's the number of our pre-orders and stuff. Usually they are quite silent about it, but it seems like they felt like they have to mention it here, that they have this strong order inflow, giving us some more trust that I think was also really needed in this regard. And also, highlighting here, giving a little bit of a guidance, NIO plans to further ramp up the production capacity to a higher level by working closely with the supply chain partners. So this also implies that what has been the limited factor, the supply chain, possibly in Shanghai, and to accelerate the deliveries recovery for June. And this was one positive take, to get this kind of management guidance here in some way. And then also another one, I think, was about talking about the Navigate and Pilot, because they are explicitly highlighting here that this demonstrates the appeal of our advanced ADAS functions for the users. So I like the fact that they are stressing this. The other day I did an update on the ET7 and how this system still needs to catch up with the hardware and the capabilities there. But of course, this will be a big focus point for NIO going forward with the Q4 software update, hopefully, or maybe Q1 if it's delayed. But generally, highlighting here that this is a big aspect of their business model, because of course this will bring those high margin monthly reoccurring payments. This is why also NIO as an EV manufacturer, but also as a kind of a software business here, is valued higher with higher multiples than a traditional legacy auto manufacturer, because they will have those high income revenue streams. And so they're highlighting that their product is having these capabilities, and they are sought after by the consumer. And there are facts like the NIO Pilot has a higher take rate even than the Tesla Autopilot in China, and that is only for the current version, which is not as capable as what the future system will be able to do. So very important points here in my views, stressed here in this delivery update, and this is hopefully also instilling some more confidence and giving a little bit of a guidance there. Generally, what they're kind of lacking here are insane growth numbers. At least they managed to grow from April to May a little bit, and then also a slight 11.8% year-over-year delivery increase. But of course, these are not the numbers that we as growth investors need and are looking to, and this is possibly also why NIO has been discounted so harsh in the stock markets. They should be growing faster. I'm still hoping that they could achieve something closer to a 100% year-over-year growth, but with those insane lockdowns, which of course have now been lifted. So we see people are going out in Shanghai. Yesterday they already went to the streets and celebrated, and today the residents are conquering back their city as nothing ever happened. But of course these insane lockdowns have kind of dampened those growth expectations, and it will be quite hard for NIO to really catch up with that in just 2 remaining quarters in this year. And so they really need to pump out these cars and actually also get the updates for the older models up and going. So we still don't have the ES7 release because of the lockdown in Shanghai. So that will be the major upgrade for the SUV lineup, and then also the older SUV platforms, that the NT 1.0 platform also should get the chipsets upgraded and the in-car hardware, and that still hasn't happened either. And this should actually also help to improve the sales going forward on top of that. So for me personally, these numbers came in higher than my expectations. For the ES8, where the numbers have been significantly lower, I'm not too concerned about that. The possible explanations are that these have been shipped, or like the missing parts have been shipped actually to Norway, therefore not delivered, can't be recognized in sales here. Or maybe they gave more priority to actually ramping the ET7. They are now still producing those cars in actually just one factory, and possibly will move it to NIO Park later on. Maybe the ES8 and the ET7 is produced on the same line, and they have to kind of have some trade-off between there. I don't know. I also saw some rumors online that the ET7 is also still kind of supply constrained in terms of chips. I don't think that this makes actually too much sense, because the newest platform should actually be less dependent on some of these chips necessary, whereas with the NT 1.0 platform, these models heavily depend on all those different chips and the older chips that are coming into those cars, and possibly if just one is missing, then they cannot finish the products and cannot deliver it to customers. And this is all of the pain that NIO is still going through, of course, with those production bottlenecks there. And so in general, these lower deliveries will be, of course, impact also the financials, possibly lower margins that we will see. Maybe the ET7 can kind of catch up there with the lower deliveries of the ES8. So usually the ES8 is the one with the highest average sales prices. I think the ET7 could actually even bring in more revenue. I guess they have actually even delivered like the higher level builds there. And so I would expect that this can kind of mitigate the missing ES8 deliveries there. But we also need to be aware of the fact that the ES8 But we also need to be aware of the fact that the ET7 is currently still in ramp-up mode, and so possibly not as efficient yet on the margin side. NIO has guided that in the future this platform will achieve around 25% margins, but of course at a very high volume production and not at current levels. So yeah, this will also be some more tough pills to swallow in the next NIO earnings reports, and we gotta hope for some good guidance. But now I think we can kind of be relieved a little bit that not the worst scenarios have actually been taken place, and NIO is giving some good guidance here and outlook. And so I think that's for now reflected in the stock markets today. A bit of a surprising move, to be honest, but this shows you how much negativity is priced in the NIO stock in general. And I would say going forward, if NIO can actually show that they can jump over those 10K monthly deliveries and actually ramp production of these various models that they now have in the pipeline, open NIO Park and so on, this should instill investor confidence again, and then also show those higher year-over-year growth rates again, and monthly higher growth rates as well. And that's when investors, when they realize they will see this growth expectations, then we get more and more buy-in into the stock, I would say. So that's my take about the deliveries. What are yours? Let me know down in the comments. Please smash a like, consider to become a patron and support this channel, and then see you in the next one.